You've tuned in to Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Like to Give, a weekly podcast hosted by two veterans dedicated to politics, current events, interviews, and anything else they want to mention, but probably shouldn't. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Robbie the Dream Gaupp and Brett Miracle Man Parks.
Hey, welcome, and thank you to another Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Like to Give. Thank you for tuning in. I am Brett Parks.
This is the boy, Robbie Gaupp.
We are so excited today. Let me tell you, this is the first time that we're actually here together in the same room. We're roomies. We only need one bed, but we have two just in case. We're very excited to be together. We're very excited to be here. We're not in our typical atmosphere and our typical studio, so the sound quality might not be as good. We'll try to speak in the mic as best as possible. But we have a pretty good show for you today. It's going to be a quick show. We are training right now up here in Lake Placid. As you can tell, we have these beautiful Team USA vests, and we are sporting them and sporting them proudly. So yeah, we're here in Lake Placid. We're in between training sessions right now. So we're here and we're trying to get this podcast for you guys, because I know you guys cannot live without a weekly podcast from Brett the Miracle Man Parks.
And you love hearing your boy Robbie Gaupp's voice. I just know it.
That's right. So Robbie, what are we talking about today?
We're going to be talking about David Hogg, as you say it, or Hogg, however it is pronounced. I'm not sure. He likes Hogg.
I like Hogg.
On his opinions about gun control, all the way to his democracy speech recently that he had made a quote about. We are not a republic, we're a democracy, but we are actually a republic.
Yes. So yeah, we're really going to focus on his speech at the March for Life and some of the things he said about the older generation. Now, I was going to let him slide because he experienced a tragedy. And listen, guys, we all know that we've all experienced some kind of tragedy. Okay, we get that, and we're very sympathetic to that. But when he starts calling out the older generations for being effing idiots and all that stuff, that's when I'm like, all right, you just opened yourself up, so now it's time to get going. So we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about the difference between a democracy and a republic, and
we're going to be talking about why does Emma Gonzalez wear a Cuban flag on her jacket every time she speaks?
No estás bien. No bueno. No estás bien. I don't know if no estás bien is right, but I know no bueno is right. That is not good. And also, those of you that want to repeal the Second Amendment to take away guns, and I know, 88% of registered Democrats say that they want to take away all guns, and that's a total repeal of the Second Amendment. And I will tell you exactly how to repeal the Second Amendment and do it legally. So, yeah, great show.
It is going to be good. I think it's going to be really exciting. I think that we're going to give you a lot of our opinions on what we feel about these people and their opinions, and that you can make your own just on that with your own choices.
Right. I agree. And let's start with our good friend, David Hogg. David Hogg. All right, I'm going to play a little bit of the speech. I hope it's going to come on. It doesn't look like it's going to, but I'm going to play it anyways, and I'm going to see what you guys think about it. It's only about a minute or so, and let's see if I can find it here. Of course I cannot. So, how's your day been today, Robbie?
It's been great. I got massaged. I've been killing it on the track. This week's been great.
Good. All right. Well, it threw me out. So that's not what we're going to do today. We're going to give you a little bit of perspective on David Hogg. Now, what do you know about David Hogg here, Robbie?
Well, as everybody knows, Hogg is a 17-year-old survivor of the Parkland shooting in Florida. He has this very strong, opinionated person. You hear him all the time on TV now. What's recent is that Hogg stated that he became an activist because adults don't know how to use a fucking democracy.
He said that. That's a quote.
That's his quote.
He put the F word in there, and that's why we have the explicit sign on our podcast, because every once in a while we will quote people that are unable to talk without cussing. So, yeah, he said that we can't use a
effing democracy.
Effing democracy. That's right. Well, here's my sound guy, which is me, figured out the video, and here we go. We're going to watch about a minute and 15, or not watch, listen to about a minute 15 here. one of these days. There it is. Never mind. It's an advertisement.
Okay. Well, until then, what's crazy about it is there was a point when he stated this. When you're old, parents, this is what it's like. I don't know how to send an iMessage. And you're just like, give me the effing phone and let me handle it. Sadly, that is what we have to do with our government. Our parents don't know how to use an effing democracy, so we have to. That is his full quote on the entire thing. And it's one of the things like you have an adult and you're a child in an adult's world. And, I'm not saying that you can't stand up for what you believe. And, it's very good that you have your own opinion. And that's what America is allowed. And it's pretty good that it's that way. But what's crazy is in a democracy, you don't always get to say what you feel in your opinion. That ain't how this works.
Right. This is a 17-year-old kid. Now, everybody here pretty much knows what they were like when they were 17. We thought we knew the world. We thought we knew everything. And also something important about it is a lot of these guys, and if you listen to these speeches at the March for Life thing, if you listen to those, there's a lot of yelling. And a lot of young people think that yelling equals progress, equals people are listening. And let me tell you something. Most adults, if there's a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old yelling at them, they're not going to listen. They're actually going to do the exact opposite. So here is the speech.
First off, I'm going to start off by putting this price tag right here as a reminder for you guys to know how much Marco Rubio took for every student's life in Florida.
Yeah, that's not true.
$1.05.
That's not true.
Okay. Now, who here is going to vote in the 2018 election? If you listen real close, you can hear the people in power shaking. We're going to make sure the best people get in our elections to run, not as politicians, but as Americans. Because this is not cutting it. And to those politicians supported by the NRA that allow the continued slaughter of our children and our future, I say get your resumes ready. God bless all of you and God bless America. We can and we will change the world.
Yeah, and then he throws up the communist fist at the end there, and I think that was very telling about the kind of person he is. Let me just put a few things in perspective as far as the whole children being slaughtered in schools. Now, those of you that know this, in the 90s, the school shootings there were way more school shootings in 1990s than there were in the 2000s. So it's actually school shootings have gone down. And also here's another little perspective that's in order here. And this is from the National Review. Time reports that since 2013, 6 adults and 35 children have been killed in school shootings in the U.S. That's since 2013. While this is a tragedy now, there's an average of 51 deaths by lightning strikes each year in the U.S. The likelihood that you'll be killed by lightning strike is 6 times greater than the likelihood that you'll be killed in a school shooting. Now, that's very sobering. Since 2013, what's that, 5 years? 5 years, there's been 35 children and 6 adults. It's bad. But I mean, there's so many other ways that you can be killed. There are so many others, and lightning strikes is just one of them. You have cars, you have over medication, you have alcoholism, you have abuse, you have knives, you have fists, you have rocks, blunt objects, so many other things, but it doesn't fit the narrative. What these kids are doing is these kids are, and especially this David Hogg, all he is a tool. He's just a tool for the anti-gun people that they love to get the most out of tragedy. That's why they say never let a tragedy go to waste, because they're using him to push the narrative to get rid of not just AR-15s and 30 clip mags. They want to get rid and repeal the Second Amendment.
So, Brett, you're saying that in the 90s there was more school shootings and more deaths. So if we look at this, basically you're saying, I was in the school in the 90s, young, sorry guys, but I was in the school in the 90s, and I didn't fear going to school due to violence. That was not the thing. bullying was happening and all of those kind of things. Not to me, but not as bad, as some of these incidences. But it's like, I didn't fear. My parents weren't worried that, hey, somebody's going to come into school and shoot it up. Is it because now we have social media and news networks pushing that there's violence happening all the time and this and that now we're more worried about it because of social media and people can see it?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's just like kidnappings. The kidnappings have gone down so much from the 90s to today. It's been a steady downtrend, but we're scared to let our kids go outside and play. When we were kids, we were outside until it got dark. And then my rule in my house was eat breakfast, go outside, don't come back until the street light comes on. And we weren't scared about it. But because of social media and the 24-hour news cycle, we hear everything, every moment, every time. And we're a paranoid, a schizophrenic society right now. And the biggest problem with this is that the news media they don't report news anymore. They report agendas. And what they're doing, these CNNs, MSNBCs, NBCs, ABCs, even Fox News, they all push an agenda. And what's so frustrating about this is that if we just report the news and report what happened and really focus on what's supposed to be done, then we wouldn't have all this stuff, all this division, because all that yelling is just dividing. This freaking David Hogg is saying this is a revolution. We are starting the revolution. He also said that the night is falling and the sun is rising and we will overcome. Now, to me, as a gun owner, someone who loves the Constitution of the United States of America and pledged an oath to protect it from all enemies, both foreign and domestic, you think that kind of language is going to make me say, oh, he's right, let me give up my guns? No, I actually went after March for Life. After all those speeches, I actually bought another gun just because you have to be prepared for things like this. These kids, they don't understand the repercussions of what they're saying.
A lot of the people who are standing up and saying, hey, the gun makers and the people who are supporting guns are murderers. They have blood on their hands. I don't really see that, for the simple fact that they're making the guns. They're not out there. They're not making them to go and to murder people and murder. It's to hunt. It's for sport. It's for things like that. It's not something that it's made to go out and have a division and create something where you have mass murders and the handgun isn't made to go outside and shoot a person. Like, it's for fun. It's for a sport, and you can enjoy that sport just like everything else. If soccer was made with spikes on, shoulder pads with spikes on them and stuff like that, so people get murdered, then you'd say, oh, well, that's created so they have a reverse side effect and people can be taken out. But the gun market isn't for that. It's made for sport. It's for hunting and stuff like that. That people, because everybody doesn't go to the store to buy, their meats and this and that. So.
Right. Robbie and I differ a little bit when it comes to that because for me, my weapon isn't just it is for play. It's for sport. I enjoy having weapons. I collect guns. I have many guns and many rifles, many firearms, and I really love them. I have a concealed carry license. And I have like 4 or 5 handguns, and they're like shoes or a purse to me. It's like, which one do I feel like wearing today? Which one goes with which outfit? But in the back of my mind, what happens if the government breaks down? What happens if there's a huge riot and my family's being threatened? What happens? I need to be able to protect myself, and I'm not going to be able to protect myself from people like that with a baseball bat. Or a racquetball racket, unless they're throwing tennis balls at me. So, and here's another thing about David Hogg, which drives me nuts. This kid is so he's oxymoronic, and what happens is he was hold on, let me just let me pause. Let me mute this person real quick. Okay, someone just got on and they started causing trouble. So here we go. Here, as far as David Hogg, the school, the superintendent was like, he said, okay, let's try this in our school. Stoneman Douglas, let's try making the kids wear clear backpacks. That way we see what's in their backpacks and see what's going on. Well, this guy, David Hogg, who is attacking our United States Constitution, who's saying that the Second Amendment is not needed, is telling this news guy that clear backpacks is violating his constitutional rights. What are you talking about?
But yet you want to change the Constitution and take an away amendment that is allowed to us as Americans, but you want to say, hey, you're against my constitutional right. Like, it just doesn't make sense as far as that. I mean, I think the clear backpack is a great idea. At the same time, yes, I mean, what are you carrying in your backpack that you have to really hide? You were a child in school, going to school with books and stuff like that. There's nothing you should have to really hide in school.
Right. And if you're scared because the principal is going to see the pack of cigarettes in your backpack, guess what? The schools are tobacco-free zones. You're not allowed to have smoke. You're not allowed to smoke. All right. So that's one thing.
I mean, when we look at it, it's one of them things. They say it's a revolution. Are they trying to change? Maybe they want a democracy. Maybe that's what the new generation is saying. Hey, maybe we want a democracy instead of a republic. But with a democracy becomes tyranny in the end, because people don't always see an agreement. And with that agreement, they start they literally take their own opinion and push it and push it and push it until everybody will like it, and then it's just taken over.
Right. And that's the big tragedy here in the United States of America, is that everyone's been using democracy. This is a democracy. This is a democracy. Well, guess what, guys? This is a republic. America's a republic, and I got a definition for both of them. All right. So here's a democracy is what everyone's talking about. A democracy is governed by the majority. So when you hear all these people saying, well, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, they won the popular vote, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's because this is not a democracy. If it was, she would have won. Now, a republic is a government in which a restricted group of citizens form a political unit, usually under auspice of a charter, which directs them to elect representatives who will govern the state. And a good way of looking at that is, all right, let's say that we're back in the old times and somebody murdered somebody and there's a whole mob, the town mobs, and they want to lynch that person. Well, that's called a democracy, to lynch them. Now, let's say that same situation happens and the mob gets the person to rope them up, and then the sheriff shows up, said, no, you can't do this. We're going to take them to trial, and then we're going to do everything the right way. That's a republic, and that's what we're living in, is a republic, and we need to remember that, not forget that.
Yeah, the biggest thing is we don't need to push the agenda to try to change how we are doing things. If we're gonna push something, let's say, hey, how can we correct something to make it better for tomorrow, not completely change everything. The getting rid of amendments and this and that isn't going to help tomorrow, because guess what? Tomorrow might not be here. So we have to focus on the main push of, hey, what can better today so that tomorrow is better. And getting rid of guns and changing amendments and all that isn't going to help it. But I'll tell you what will help it. Going out and learning, hey, what is the fastest routes, what is the best way we can get fire trucks to fires? What is the best way, if we were called to a scene that if there's a violent act, what is the best way the school can have a shutdown where everybody is protected and the casualties aren't as severe as possible? Like that's the main thing we need to focus on, and schools should be driving to do that right now.
Right. And those of you that are wanting to repeal the Second Amendment, I have the steps for you to actually repeal the Second Amendment. So what you do is there's really Congress in Article 5 of the Constitution outlines two basic steps for amending the document. And I'll quote them right now, and then I'll break it down for you. It says, the Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of the legislator of 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution, when ratified by the legislator of 3/4 of the several states, or by conventions, and 3/4 thereof, as the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1800 8 shall in any manner affect the first and the fourth clause of the 9th section of the first article, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. So let me break it down for you. Number one, both houses, the Congress must propose the amendment with 2/3 vote. So they have to propose the amendment, and then both houses need to pass it by 2/3 vote. All right. And then to ratify it, 3/4 of the state has to say, okay, all right, let's what is that? 35 states have to say, okay, I agree. Let's repeal the Second Amendment. So that, I'm telling you right now, guys, is not going to happen. It's not going to happen in my lifetime, and it probably won't happen in your lifetime. Now, what will happen is the legislators or people will try to do it illegally. They'll take away bullets, or they'll take away certain things on a weapon that enables it to fire, and they won't let it fire. They'll do stuff like that illegally. But the question is, if these police officers, government, if they do try to take your guns away illegally, these law-abiding gun owners, what's going to happen?
I think whenever that all happens, we first off, it'd be crazy, because I think it would be devastating to the country, because I think it'd be a divide from, the people that want guns and the people who don't want guns, which I believe will create possibly a civil war again, which isn't going to be great for anybody, especially we have a great country, and to divide us even more with the division that we already have that we're trying to fix right now is just devastating to us as Americans. And other countries, I think, are sitting back and laughing, and they're hoping for that.
Yeah, and as far as these other countries go, UK they don't have guns on the streets. They're probably one of, if not the hardest place to have a gun legally. And here's a fact for you. And this comes from Charlie Kirk, at Charlie Kirk 11, says that in the UK, 933 violent crimes per year per 100,000 people. So, but in the US, there's only 399 crimes per 100,000 people. It's not going to change anything. If anything, it's going to make things worse.
Yeah, criminals are going to be criminals.
Right.
Like, there's going to be violent acts. There's going to be this, because that's what they do. That you're not changing that by taking something away from them. People will find a way to go get whatever it is they need for the necessity that they're doing.
Right. And if you take away all kinds of guns, all kinds of rifles, listen, there are a way to make guns and rifles without having to go to the store and buy guns and rifles. You have 3D printers. I've seen one where there's super soaker that they changed over and they use it as a weapon. There's airsoft pistols where they change it just a little bit, and it could go right through a whole watermelon.
And we've seen this and from other countries where they take guns and they take rights away from their civilians, and it is destruction. I mean, we've seen it with Germany. We see it in Cuba with Emma Gonzalez supports Cuba, which Fidel Castro took away rights of all the civilians.
Yeah, they took the guns away, and then the civilians had no way to defend themselves. And I grew up. I was born and raised in Miami, and I had a lot of Cuban friends, and their parents fled Cuba because of this. And I always ask, so why don't you guys go back and fight? And they're like, we don't have weapons there. We don't have anything. We can't fight. And it's tough to fight a government with pitchforks and hose.
Yeah, it's just, to me, like, you're wearing a Cuban patch. I'm not saying maybe that's her nationality. Maybe it's, it's something that she supports. And I agree with that. If that's your reason for doing it, great. But when you're talking about democracy, and then you're looking to do the same thing that a country that your family might have even fled from, and saying, "Hey, I want it to be like this," there's not a justification with that, because you're looking at it like you don't remember that your country was taken from you,
right? Like,
and now you want to do the same thing here? Is you want to get our country taken from the American people?
Yeah, there's a Trump Babe on Twitter. It's at Trump Babe 69. That's a great handle, by the way, Trump Babe. She said, there should be a reality TV show where anti-capitalist teens are questioned about the type of government they want. They are then flown to a country that resembles their vision as closely as possible and are forced to live there for a few months. I mean, I think the lack of education is deafening right now, because our school system's failing, because these kids do not know what socialism, true socialism is, what true communism is, what true tyranny is. They don't know these things and what true capitalism is. These teachers, they're in there, and a lot of teachers are great teachers, but most of them, they come out of college so excited to teach, and then they get in this public school system and they bog them down. And they tell them, no, you have to teach this curriculum, and they just get get compliant. And a lot of these teachers are not teaching the truth. They're trying to teach this romantic style of socialism and how great socialism is, and it's not. It hurts people. It kills people. It's killed millions of people throughout the world.
And I think if you're out there and you really want to know, go watch videos of people who put their YouTubes up of North Korea or of Cuba or of these countries that don't have rights, and see what they say and how they feel about that. Like North Korea is one of the biggest ones. I see it all the time. People posting their videos about people who have fled from North Korea, and you get to see what it's like. You have no TV, and when you have a TV, guess what? It only shows your dictatorship. Like it's mind-boggling. Like, who would want to live like that?
Right. And that's something, and this is why I say, as far as the Emma Gonzalez's and the David Hoggs in the world, they're kids. They don't understand. I was 17 once, and I was a knucklehead.
And I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
I thought I knew everything.
I knew everything. You couldn't tell me any different. But I was a knucklehead, and it took me actually living and paying taxes and falling in love, true love.
Running out of money,
having to work for what you got, and seeing all my taxes taken away and given to people that don't work. And I was like, wait, that's not right. Well, guess what, guys? That's socialism. So yeah.
So we're going to go on to our strange news of the day.
We have strange news, and it's sad for those of us that grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Our good friend Corey Feldman, this just happened, I believe, yesterday. He was stabbed while sitting in his car. Somebody tried to actually murder him with a knife. And they said that they think it's because he came out and he was like whistleblowing because of all the pedophilia in Hollywood. So they think it's retaliation for that. So Corey Feldman has been stabbed. He's in the hospital. He's okay. He's going to recover. But he was stabbed, and I thought he was great in Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really.
I mean, this goes back to the conspiracy theorists. They're going to jump on and they're going to say their things and this and that, because the Corey Feldman stuff is kind of, here and there. I think some of his stuff is possibly true, but at the same time, I don't know how much, because, I don't know nothing about the Hollywood aspect of that kind of stuff. But I feel that this definitely could have been linked to it. There's been numerous things that's happened like this and stuff like that. But it's one of them things. I think when you come out about stuff like that, you do have to watch your back all the time, because there are people out there that have money, that have greater powers, that definitely don't want their name being associated with that kind of stuff. And who knows who it's going to be whenever he does release all the names. I mean, it might be people surprised that you never even thought of, but that's how it is in the world too. You never know. Your neighbor next door, your cousin, your brothers, like, you never know. And it's sad that it's that way.
It is. It really is.
I'm completely against it. Completely against it.
Yes. And stabbing somebody should never be an appropriate response unless someone did something to your kid.
But it shows you, if you can't get a gun, you'll get a knife.
You will get a knife. So, Corey, we're here for you. We're praying for you. Get better. Yeah.
Make another movie.
Make another movie, man. It's always fun to see. Was he in Sharknado not long ago? I don't know if he was one.
I can't remember.
He is perfect for
watching
Sharknado.
After the first one. Sorry, but
I watched Sharknado like 5 the other day, and I was like, you know what? This isn't bad for being such a horrible, horrible movie. So, so Corey, we're rooting for you, buddy.
But guys, if you have any type of opinions that on any of the stuff that we just talked about, definitely on to the David Hogg and Emma Gonzalez and any of the other students that you don't really hear too much from them. But if you have any opinions, if you can, just go on, make a comment. We'd like to talk to you about it and argue about it with you if that's the case. But go ahead and get that done with, and let us know what you think about the show. Also, what we can do to make it better.
Yeah, man. Also, you know, we had a great show today. We had a good time. Great to see you, Robbie.
Great seeing you, man.
Yeah, man. It's awesome. And also, let you guys know, go to SoundCloud, subscribe, press the notification button. Same thing with YouTube. You want to see our beautiful faces and our even more beautiful vests.
Also, go on and like our Facebook page and leave 1 or 2 comments, please, about today's show.
For sure.
The best comment we'll read the following week.
That's right. We will. And we forgot to read a comment today, but we will next week. Thank you guys so much. My name's Brett Parks.
This is Robbie Gaupp.
And we are out of here.